Hi there, I'm Freak Boy, and welcome to Freak Boy Runs. It didn't take long for me to go from excited to scared of my first big week. With 2 speed sessions, I'm on the first of those 2 now. It's a threshold run. I'm doing a 2-mile warm-up to get close to the park, and then basically once I'm in the park, I run 4 kilometers at marathon pace, and then it's only 4 repeats, but it's 4 by 2 kilometers at threshold. So yeah, that's going to be a challenge. Like I said, it scares me a little bit, but I still have some of that excitement inside me as well. And I'm sure once I get into it, the nerves will settle and I'll focus on the pain. Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick intro. I know the light's not very good right now, so rather than tire myself out before I start and in the bad light, I'll pick you guys back up somewhere in the middle and give you an update on the pain. See you in a sec. I'm almost done the first repeat. It's definitely tough. Holding 2 full kilometers at threshold pace. Yeah. I don't know why I decided to pull the camera out now. This is too hard. Be back in a sec. Okay. I only have 2 minutes here. So, yeah, I'll just finish that update. Yeah, I kept my heart rate right at the very top of zone 3. Jumped into zone 4 once or twice. That's where I want to be. Top of zone 3, bottom of zone 4. Now I gotta see if I can keep doing that for 3 more reps. Only 2 minutes in between. Doesn't feel like enough. Okay. Ciao for a minute. Almost there. Maybe 30 seconds or less. Oh God. Oh God. Longer than I thought. There it is. Okay, that really hurt at the end. You feel like giving up, but you can't give up. Tap out today, tap out in the race. So I don't ever want to do that. Unless I'm injured, you keep pushing through and get it done. I thought the mile repeats were tough. This is like 2 kilometers is 1.25 miles. That extra quarter makes a hell of a difference. Okay, let me just catch my breath. I think I've returned to the living. Probably putting a shadow on my face from where the sun is. So let's go this way. Yeah. It was a good one. Always feels so good once it's done though. So hard to get through, but then so satisfying once you complete it, especially with a good execution, which today I think I had a pretty good execution. Those first 4 kilometers at marathon effort, they set you up nicely because you go straight into the first 2 kilometer threshold. So, you know, I guess there's a little bit of negative to that insofar as you have to run 6 straight kilometers without a rest. But the good part is my heart rate was already up at the top of zone 2. So then to get it to the top of zone 3, I didn't have to guess so much at how hard I needed to run to get there. I just incrementally sped up and I was there. Easy peasy. Yeah, and again today I'm wearing, I don't know if you can tell, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4s. And I think, you know, they're heavier than running in super shoes, lighter than running in my regular trainers or my super padded Asics Gel Nimbus recovery shoes. But I think I may start doing what I did before in previous cycles, and that is use these for my tempo sessions and start using some retired Alpha Flies and Vapor Flies for the threshold sessions. And you know, I'll be able to run a little bit faster. It's always the heart rate that matters the most. You trust the process, train in heart rate zone, and trust that when I get into the cooler temperatures in Chicago, I'll be able to go that much faster at the same heart rate. But I still would like to be able to compare to some of my previous sessions, and in pretty much almost all of those I was wearing some super shoes for the threshold sessions, so it'll give me a better comparison if I start doing that. Yeah, so I've got tempo on Thursday. Hopefully I'm recovered enough to do a good job there. And as long as I remember to bring the camera, I'll see you then. Hey, it's Thursday morning. I'm already running fast because I'm on interval 3 of my tempo session, which is 7 by 2 kilometers at tempo, which is zone 3. Done okay so far, but it's going to keep getting harder. So let's check back in later on, see how I'm doing then. Cheers. Just finishing the 7th and final rep. I had to slow down just a tad over the last, well, starting, okay, I'm done. Starting about halfway through interval 6. I guess that last kilometer there, and then this last interval. So the last 3 kilometers, I had to slow down to make sure my heart rate didn't get up too high. Prior to that, I was pretty rock steady, pace-wise and heart rate-wise. And it's amazing, compared to Tuesday, at least in the first 11 of those 14 kilometers, my pace was only 10 to 15 seconds slower than my threshold pace per mile from Tuesday, and that's like 6 to 10 seconds per kilometer. But it makes a big difference, such a big difference. So yeah, that does it. Wasn't too bad. I didn't fuel today. I decided before I left that I didn't think I was running hard enough to really need it. I think that was right. I brought my water though. I didn't want to get dehydrated. So yeah, let's call it a day today, and I will pick you guys back up for Sunday's long run. First one with hot spots for this cycle. Ooh, scary. Well, I'm getting a treat first thing on my long run. Check this out. Good morning. I think he's gonna try and get this basket in the lake. Oh, he's not low now. Well, way better than you, right? I'm the bear. He's doing a rhythmic pattern with his heater. That was pretty cool. I thought I might see a balloon today. It's really calm out this morning. Very little wind. It's gonna be a hot one today, but it's not hot, not too hot anyways yet. It's probably around low 80s, maybe just under 25 Celsius. Okay, that's enough of that. I thought that was cool. Yeah, let's see. On my long run, gonna have some hot spots in here. It's not really taxing on the hot spots. I think there's a total of 4, and each one of them are 2 kilometers. So I'll have 8 kilometers total of hot spots out of a prescribed 23 kilometers, which is under 15 miles. I'm going to go over that. I've been building up my mileage early for two main reasons. The first, just being able to have my volume built up a little bit before I got into the build blocks, so I didn't have to be adding as much volume at the same time as I was adding so much extra intensity. And then the second reason is that I am on my first week of the next build block, which will be 4 weeks from today, that long run. I'm going to be doing my biggest long run, which is not traditional. Normally you do that, most marathon plans have you doing that as your very last long run, and your very last big long run. And I'm moving that to is it 6 weeks out? It's 5 weeks out from Marathon Sunday, which gives you more of an opportunity to get adaptations from that big long run. So having the extra distance built up early allows me to not have to do as big of a jump in how long my long run is from the end of build block 1 to the beginning of build block 2. So that's my logic of why I build up my long run distance a little bit early. Anyways, I got the first 5 kilometers easy here, and then I do a hot spot. So I'm going to put you guys away for a few minutes, try and stay relaxed for the rest of this first 5K, and then see what I got when it comes to hot spots. I'll check in with you later. Okay, I'm almost about halfway done. Maybe like another quarter mile and I'll be halfway through the session. Hot spots have gone pretty reasonable. Doing it all by heart rate. My pace is a good 30, even 40 seconds slower than my actual marathon pace. I wish it was a bit faster, but I still have time to improve my speed in this cycle, so I'm not going to fret about it too much. Anyways, yeah, let's come back and check in when I'm all finished. See how I feel then. Cheerio. Oh, I'm almost done. Just on the cool down part of the run. Good morning. And then I'll do a 3-mile cool down walk. I improvised. I was feeling pretty decent. And since I was adding basically about 3 kilometers to the end of the run anyways, I decided to do basically one more hotspot of 2 kilometers at marathon effort. I went beyond marathon effort, spoiler alert. But that's because I felt good. I wanted to finish strong. May have been my strongest pair of kilometers of the session. I'm not 100% sure, but it's close. But yeah, I mean, most of those hot spots were 30 to 40 seconds per mile slower than my marathon pace. I know it's confusing mixing miles and kilometers. My watch is set up for miles. My training plan is set up for kilometers. That's in the area of 20 to maybe 27 seconds per kilometer slower. Yeah, so I wish it was a bit better, but that's okay. Let's put you guys away for the next couple of minutes. Let me finish off the cool down jog nice and easy, and then I'll pick you up and wrap it up during my walk. I'm actually not quite ready to give my summary, but my bagpipe friend is coming by. I just wanted to catch some of his music. Love that. He's out here practicing. I can't say on a regular basis because he's not here all the time, but he does come out on a regular basis for periods of time and then he disappears for a while. Anyways, I'll check back in a few minutes once I've gathered my thoughts and maybe looked at some of my data on my phone. Okay, I had a chance to look at the numbers and evaluate a little bit, and I'm pretty happy. I have to say this was a bit of a confidence builder. Yeah, it's not really a good comparison to compare it, mile by mile to my run from 2 weeks ago, which was also a 16-mile run. But that one was a progression run where I was trying my hardest to stay in zone 1 for as long as possible, and then in order to not really get up out of zone 2 too much by the end. But the end result of that run was, I ran it, I think in the 16 miles was 2 hours and 53 minutes or so. I think it was a total of 16.1 in 2:54. And at the time I realized, wow, that's, pushing up close to 3 hours. I definitely am going to need to do better for my long runs, because one kind of rule of thumb is to try not to go over 3 hours on your long runs. At least not much over 3 hours. So today was a much different run, of course. It wasn't a progression run at all. It was just meant to be running in zone 2 for the easier parts, and kind of really at the top of zone 2 and bottom to middle of zone 3 for the marathon efforts. Technically supposed to be top of zone 2 there, but I was comfortable going into just the bottom of zone 3. So one big difference today was these bad boys. I'm wearing my Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 3s. This is actually, I think, maybe the first time I've just run a training session in them. I'm just now retiring them from racing and making them strictly training shoes. Since before today, they had like I think around 144 or 145 miles on them, and for these super shoes, that's as much as I'm really willing to take them in races, because the foam tends to deteriorate a lot faster on these types of shoes than on your regular trainers. So yeah, the shoes made a big difference. They're far lighter than my regular. I think I was just running in my Pegasus 41s last weekend, and these are decent shoes, but compared to these, they're a lot heavier. So that makes a big difference, and I guess in some ways my attitude, you know, I was up for running at a decent pace today, as opposed to the mindset of trying to stay in zone 1 as much as possible and keep my paces within a range that I could do a progression run. Completely different mindsets there. But good morning. Yeah, I'm pretty happy today. Did 16.2 miles in 2 hours and 28 minutes, so the 16 miles was probably around 2:26. So I'm approximately 27 minutes faster today than I was on that progression run 2 weeks ago. The point being, not really to compare them, like I said, mile to mile, but that I think I'm in a good place from the standpoint of keeping all my long runs to around the 3-hour limit. My longest long run will be 22 miles 4 weeks from today. So, you know, that's going to take me a good, you know, it's not going to be, shouldn't be over 3 hours, but it's going to be somewhere 25 minutes or so longer than today, I would imagine. So the whole point is I've got plenty of room to stay within that 3-hour marker. I do want to try and keep pushing the envelope a bit and getting faster as we go along. We'll see what the heat has to say about that. It wasn't unbearable today. It's going to be hot later in the day, but it started out at early, the low 80s, and maybe built to the mid 80s. So stayed, I would say, in the 30-ish range Celsius. I think it stayed under 30 Celsius. Anyway, so here comes the sun. Yeah, just to look at the kilometer comparisons. What happened to my phone here? There we go. Yeah, my first 2 kilometers of hotspot were, looks like, now let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Yeah, 5:09 and 5:02. And so I'm really happy with the consistency. There's obviously room for improvement, but that's pretty decent for me. And then the next ones were 5:11 and 5:06. And then the third pair of kilometers for hotspot, I was actually dealing with a hill. So they were a bit slower. They were 5:15 and 5:15. Then I did 511 and a 506, and then the bonus two were 504 and 455. So yeah, I pushed it a little bit harder for those last two, knowing that I was done and just cooling down after that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely some room for improvement, and I definitely wish I was a little bit quicker than that by now, but I have 7 more weeks, I guess technically 6 more weeks of build block to go, so there's lots of time there for me to keep pushing and keep speeding up. And you know, with the heat, I can't really complain too much about those paces. Still, I want to get better. So that's all I've got for this week. That's the summary. That's the week. It was, I think, a really good week. Felt good for the threshold, felt good for the tempo, felt good for the long run. Can't complain about that. So we'll wrap it up here this week. As always, if you don't mind, remember to like this video below if you're enjoying the content. Subscribe as well if you haven't done that yet. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you care to do that. Share with your friends if you get a wild hair. And until next time on Freak Boy Runs, embrace the misery. Freak Boy out.